Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic University podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Canton III, and we are here to give out awards. The Phase 5 awards, that is, as we are continuing a tradition started in Phase 4, and very happy to do that tonight. But I'm also happy to tell you about patreon.com/MCUniversityPod, where you can get our bonus content, such as Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yes, we did do that episode, and it was very interesting for me and Jake to go back and dive into that second movie. And yes, we are looking forward, I think, to the 2015 Fantastic Four, which will come out before Fantastic Four First Steps. We're looking forward to doing that, I think. If you want to listen to that episode and every back catalog episode we have ever done, it's a bunch of bonus episodes on anything that you could think of. $3 to get into that, and our Discord, which is a wonderful group of people with great conversations and all of those things. And if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me introduce you to the panel. First, the super producer, Jake Christie. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm looking over. I'm crunching numbers. That's why if you see me with like a blank stare, it's because I'm looking at this. We got a lot of responses, and so I'm looking at this spreadsheet. Very excited to talk about it.
Oh, love to see that. Very excited. We do have our two friends who were with us for the Phase 4 awards. First, our pal, the mama in the Discord, Cecelia Alfonso-Stokes. Cecelia, welcome back to the program. How you doing?
I am doing great. I am super excited to recount the highs and lows from these last few years with you guys.
Yes, the anticipation is building. And with that being said, let me also introduce our favorite guy who comes in with all of the great nerd takes, Hunter Radesi. Hunter, welcome back to the program. How you doing, sir?
I am fantastic. I'm really excited to relive this Phase 5 that started with Secret Invasion somehow and ended with
Womp womp.
what a wild and wacky phase this was.
It's a great way to describe it because in going back for the prep for this, you go back. This started with Quantum Mania, and I just remember the hype going into that movie and how much it stunk, and it kind of left us for a loop. And then in the same year, we had Secret Invasion. So on the TV side, we also got a stinker on top of that too. So at first, it's so funny because if you think about how Marvel Studios has been covered by the media, that movie and that TV show, I feel like the stink on both of those has followed it for the past 2 years. So it's kind of put a little bit of an actual stink on the product itself. But as always, when you go back and look, you say to yourself, oh, wait a minute, this moment was great.
Mhm.
This moment was great. This moment was great. And then you find out, oh, not too shabby. So let's dive in to our first category. And the first category we will talk about is our favorite newcomer. Newcomers abound in the MCU. So, Cecelia, I will ask you first. Who was your favorite newcomer?
This was a hard one in part because I was like trying to remember all of the characters, but then also going, okay, this person wasn't a newcomer, but kind of was. It was having to remember, who actually has shown up before, but now they're getting their time to shine. But it's Bob/Sentry.
Hey, good
period.
Call.
I think that he is he's just such an original character, especially for the MCU. His neuroticness was so it was unexpected. I didn't know much about the character going into it, but the way that what's his face? Lewis Pullman?
Yes.
Bill Pullman's.
Yes.
Okay. I grew up watching, while you were sleeping every year at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill Pullman is who I know. But Lewis Pullman, I think, just brought it refreshed the MCU in a way that I was not expecting. There is a way to make the whole depression, mental health metaphor feel just off. And I think that they were able to lean into some of the overdone analogies in a way that was still surprising because of the way that he played that character. So Yeah, I really enjoyed him, and like because they also leave his character on such an ellipses, like we just truly don't know
Yeah.
what's happening going forward. It's really exciting.
Yes, he is a very exciting, and I like that choice. That's a good inspired choice. Hunter, how about you? Who's your favorite newcomer?
Oof. This was like, of the questions on that sheet, this was the one that stumped me maybe the most because the
Yeah.
theme of the last two phases has been let's throw as many newcomers into this as we can and like see what sticks. Um, but the problem with that, I think, is that when a lot of the newcomers are people who are kind of getting thrown at the wall, I feel like that almost like automatically disqualifies them for me because it makes it hard to really call them a favorite when we haven't actually seen that much from them and they're really more of like a tease or someone just bopping in, which is why my initial thought was someone who I was going to pick because I thought that this character would come in with so much potential, and that really excited me. But I don't think potential makes you the best newcomer. I think
Mm-hmm.
coming in with a knockout performance that really helps define the project that you're in, that should make you best newcomer. So I do really like the Century pick, but I'm gonna go with High Evolutionary, actually.
Good
Ooh, good
one.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good one.
because I think that similar to Century, and I mean in their respective projects, I think that they were both really interesting characters that were sort of um, personalities and viewpoints we hadn't exactly seen in the MCU before that really complemented the other characters in their respective projects. And they were, I mean, Chukwudi, when he came in as High Evolutionary, it was such a powerhouse performance, and I also thought it was really cool. You know, James Gunn gets a lot of crap for like casting friends in roles, but sometimes I think that leads to an actor who might not normally get an opportunity like that
Yeah.
to be able to come in and just knock it out of the park and show that sometimes like you don't need like the Brad Pitts of the world in your movie to have a good performance. Should be obvious, but I think High Evolutionary is one of the more exciting fun villains we've had in a little while, and he was such a tour de force in that movie. And I love Guardians 3, and I feel like that movie came and it had its impact, but with all the shenanigans that went on, you have this really
Yes.
like perfect like trilogy conclusion in the midst of
Mm-hmm.
it all that I think almost gets forgotten as part of the phase just because it's so like cohesive and good.
Great point. Great
It's a
point.
whole lot.
Yeah, so even if he's like a one-off character, newcomer, even if we never see him again, I was really really happy with that, and I didn't want people to forget him, so that's my pick.
That's a great
Awesome.
pick, man. Jake, how about you, sir?
So my answer was Bob. I think that everything Cecilia said is spot on. I think the thing that actually was tricky about this is that while I agree, Andrew, that there's just throwing things at the wall, I think that a lot of characters that might be considered newcomers in this phase actually were introduced last phase. Like there's a lot where I'm like, wait, no, technically they were introduced last phase. Technically they were introduced last phase. So like the actual list, like I mean, looking at the answers some people gave, some people straight up just gave characters that don't apply. You know, like Kang is not a newcomer this phase. You know,
Yeah, Riri Williams is not a newcomer.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the characters that would come first. But one I want to give a shout out to, unless AC, this is your pick, just because I want to give something to talk about. And it's I think it's technically a newcomer because it's a different version. Is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man's Norman Osborn? I think
That
he's
was
great.
I thought about that one
honorary.
He
too.
was, he
Yeah,
was on
that was
my
an honorable mention.
honorable mention. Honorable
I
mention.
mean, I
Yes.
think that it's just such a great performance, obviously, and I
I
think
have an
that
off
it's
the
such
board
a,
pick.
it's just such a. I mean, I think it's obviously everything's precedented in the comics because the comics are so old, but I think it's just such a radical take. Like, I think it's underappreciated how radical of a take is that character. Like, imagining Norman Osborn as like as the mentor for Peter Parker and sort of like a sidekick in some ways, like the guy in the chair for him, is such a interesting idea. And I thought that it was done really well. That was the part of the show that worked absolutely for me the best because it was just so inventive and yeah, I thought like my relationship to animated stuff has been much documented on this show, and I think like that really excited me of in a way that those shows normally don't. And so yeah, I want to give him a shout out. And as everyone knows, and I saw someone else. I was going to reach a relatively big movie account said something like if they're going to bring Norman Osborn back into the MCU, it needs to be Coleman Domingo. And I almost retweeted it from our account, but they spelled Coleman wrong, and I'm like, I can't do that. I don't even if I agree, I can't.
I respect that. I respect that decision.
That's so great. That's great. Great stuff. Okay, so for me, I gotta admit, I went a little off the board here. And the reason why I went off the board was because of how much of an emotional impact I felt like this character's presence in its series made. And this was Patty Lupone's Lilia in Agatha All Along.
That's a good
Ah.
one.
I
Good one.
thought that everything that we saw leading up to the way that they layered that show into her episode in episode 7, I thought was just so incredible. It left such a mark on me. And I feel like it's part of the reason why like I've been waiting for like a really good time to go back and really concentrate and rewatch the show again. And I'm so excited to do so because that show was, I mean, legitimately spellbinding. And she's such a big part of it because at the moment that she realizes everything that she's seen throughout, she has lived it and her destiny and all of that stuff coming together, realizing that it's more than she can be more than what she thinks she is. It's such a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful story for this character, and enjoyed her interactions. And obviously, Patty's an old pro. She's been doing this for the longest. Hashtag Watch Agenda. She out here in these streets. So give her the
I
credit.
can't. Every time I think you found every way to do Watch Agenda. Every time.
He's got a brand.
No, but like it's not just the brand. It's like he has a brand, but then he's putting on new merch. I'm like, I never even considered putting hashtag Watch Agenda onto a speedboat. Congratulations! Like he just always come up with new ways to bring it up.
Yeah. So I just like I said, I think about her performance a lot in that show, and it resonated with me a ton. So that's why I picked her. And then, honorable mention for me. And if you guys have any more, we can get into those. But listen, it's present of mind. But Sacha Baron Cohen coming through Mephisto, that was a very impactful debut.
I think we're very much on the same page because Lilia Calderu was what I initially put down actually for my favorite newcomer.
Okay.
But then I ended up using her with a different answer down the line, and so I was like, nice. I want to give High Evolutionary his flowers because I'm not sure a lot of people are going to think of him. So huge ups on that. I'm really glad someone said it. And then also the other one I was talking about was I almost put Mephisto because we've been waiting for him for a while. I thought Sacha Baron Cohen's performance was really fun in the brief scenes we had of him. And I love, like I was saying before, I feel like Mephisto is one of those characters where his introduction is really exciting because unlike some other introductions, like I can see a path where they could use him. And I can see it's like, okay, he's a fun newcomer and he's also this glue that can glue together a lot of threads that are loose right now, which is really exciting in its own right. So I think Mephisto is a huge one. And even though it's like the most recent newcomer, I still think it's worth mentioning. So
can I go through the fan answers, which I think
absolutely
this will probably cover. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat them because there were some repeats.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, and I'm going to skip over ones that don't apply. Like, sorry for people who said Kang or Miss Marvel. Like, Miss Marvel's show was in a previous phase. What are we doing? Kahori was an interesting one.
Yo, okay.
Gambit, Mephisto. A lot of people said Bob was definitely the most common answer.
Yeah.
Two people said Lonnie Lincoln from Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Great character.
Good pick. Great pick.
Great character.
A couple people said Rio, aka Death, Aubrey Plaza's character.
That was my.
I thought about that one too.
Parker Robbins got a shout out. High Evolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
The teen from Agatha All Along. But one that I thought was interesting got 2 votes, which is I think in terms of screen time and like obviously Mephisto has short screen time, but this character had very short screen time and is not like a character with legendary comics history. 2 people said Zelma Stanton, so she popped.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Zelma's fun.
Shout out to the Strange Academy. Let's get that cooking.
Yeah,
do it.
I mean, I don't know what it says, but the actress who plays her came up on my TikTok For You page as doing a rap song, so she's got stuff going on.
No, there you go. How about that?
There's nothing more humbling than when there's like a powerhouse, like new person in the MCU. Like I Googled that actress. Forgive me, I'm forgetting her name in the moment. But after the episodes where she was in came out, and I was like, wow, she's so good. And then I Googled and said she's like what, like 17? And I was like, man, what am I doing? She's like rapping. She's like in Ironheart, and I'm like, dog. just crazy.
Yeah, she is out here for sure. But yeah, shout out to all the newcomers in the MCU, doing their thing. Whether they are here for a short stint or here for their hopefully the long haul. So our next topic that we will discuss category: most disappointing storyline, or whether it's TV show, movie, etc., or maybe the etc. I will get into in an honorable mention, but with that being said, for disappointing Jake, I'll start with you.
The leader in Captain America: Brave New World. I wanted to be specific because a lot of people just gave like the name of a show, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, but I was really like thinking to myself, like, there's gonna be the reshoots, and it seems like it's a mess. But the leader is an awesome character. He's got a giant head. He's really smart, and Tim Blake Nelson is one of those actors who's never bad in anything. And they let me down. Like I was like that. They're gonna have me there at least. And the look, obviously, there's been a lot of consternation about how they changed the look, and it's bad. But the look's awful.
Bad. So bad.
They don't really have any idea of like what his vibe is. Oh, and they reshot everything he did, so it never feels like he's actually in any of the scenes he's in. It feels so disjointed, and I'm like, wow, man, like they really did my guy TBN like that. It was just really disappointing. Obviously, like there are other things that were bad, but in terms, like I really came in being like, they're not gonna fuck that up. At least I'm gonna leave this movie being like, it was really cool to watch Tim Blake Nelson play an evil genius, and it wasn't. There were things about that movie I liked, and that was just the fact that wasn't one of them. Was like, wow, really disappointing.
Oh man, yeah, you're right about that. That did stink to high hell. Jesus Christ. Hunter, how about you?
So last time I tried to give a not obvious answer. This time it's gonna be pretty obvious. What I wrote down on my sheets, because I thought it was just asking for a general project, was Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
it can be if you want.
Yeah. Well, Secret Invasion as a whole was insanely disappointing because I do love for so many. I think we don't even have to explain it. Like it's just it wasn't a good show, but it's like such an interesting arc in the comics. But I think specifically what really was a letdown for me in that show, outside of everything else, like I feel like I could have dealt with, we're gonna do this like really overpowered, like kind of convoluted, like Super Skrull thing, or like, we're gonna mess up all of these other things. Having two of your leads be Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn, and then the show, like,
you know what it's like? Can I give an example of what it's like? It's like when the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the same team and couldn't make the playoffs.
That is such a good comp. Holy shit!
Yeah, this is like the Cleveland Browns after they got like OBJ and Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry, and they were like 0 to 100, baby. Like we're going to the Super Bowl, and then they didn't even make the playoffs.
That's a good one too.
It's the same thing. You're right, Jake. Like it's just you have this all-star lineup, and sort of similar to what you were saying with Tim Blake Nelson as the leader. I thought to myself, surely, even if the show is subpar, like Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn sharing the screen together in like a spy, like espionage thriller must be good, or at least like fun and interesting. And it wasn't. And I'm like, what a waste of an opportunity with that much talent playing those characters in that scenario. And then
wasted Olivia Colman, wasted her. Jesus Christ. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
I forgot she was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going back through these characters and I'm like, yeah, like Sonya Falsworth probably could have been like, there's an opportunity to have that be best newcomer. And then like the show just stinks so bad and the script is so sloppy and boring that it's like you're just wasting these top tier actors who could be giving you so much more, who probably want to be giving you so much more. And so I think that was my biggest disappointment, was that Secret Invasion was so bad that it sucked the life out of like Academy tier actors. Which was
it's a very fair statement to make. I'll just say this much. The fact that when we were doing those Secret Invasion pods, I was making Love and Hip Hop references. Like, yo, if I'm doing that, guys, we got some real problems here. But Secret Invasion by itself definitely deserves like the worst of the worst. Jesus Christ, oh my goodness. And Cecelia, how about you? What's your disappointment?
Yeah, I mean, I also had a project, and then Jake also on this pod just now shamed me into making it more
Sorry.
specific.
Sorry. I didn't realize that was gonna be an issue, but yeah.
No, it's
It's not an
okay.
issue. We're just
I
making.
will
we're
say,
just
no,
making
it actually it helped. It helped. It gave me more to chew on.
To
So
crystallize your vision.
it did. So Quantumania was my biggest disappointment.
Talk about it.
Which I feel like is the second, like one of the more obvious ones.
Mhm.
I think when I was thinking about disappointments, like what I went in expecting and what I got, that had the largest like drop off. Secret Invasion, there was enough kind of like we don't really know. There's some things. My problem with Quantumania was I felt like it had been so hyped up, and partially, I mean, for two things, and so I did make it more specific. There's two things that made it really a disappointment. The first, on just like a larger cultural standpoint, is Jonathan Majors, like as Kang, because even though he was good in it, I don't even remember what I ended up thinking. It's just so colored now by it's Jonathan Majors, and I'm just like disappointed in him. Generally
Very
speaking.
fair. Very fair.
And then the other thing was the quantum realm itself. The quantum realm was kind of a huge letdown, especially with how much of a role it played in Endgame, which is like one of the greatest cinematic experience I think I've ever had and maybe ever will have. Like I will go to my deathbed thinking about seeing Endgame on opening night. And to have the quantum realm just absolutely turn to like quite literal mush.
Yeah, goop.
Goop, just big goop. Like they were like, "Oh, everything's crazy here." I'm like, "You kind of just look like Star Wars aliens. I've seen this before. Like the rules are different here." Well, Multiverse of Madness already did that, and honestly better. Like I just couldn't, for what it was promising to do, especially with the multiverse, it was hugely disappointing. So yeah,
very, very fair statement. Very fair statement. Quantumania was definitely on my list, and I was thinking about going in on it a little bit deeper. But in light of recent events, I feel like I want to say that my most disappointing thing overall is Marvel Studios' inability or ability to go out of their way to make, whenever it comes to POCs and women, look very poor in terms of marketing, in terms of how the shows are distributed, and the movies as well. The Marvels, Echo, Ironheart, like guys, y'all got to tell me something different right now, because the way that I see it's pretty clear that you're listening to all the dude bros and everybody on their little videos saying whatever type of nonsense that they're saying and not giving these shows a chance to succeed at all. And then on top of that, with what Ironheart ended up having something like the Zeke Stain thing that could have been something you could have used in Captain America Brave New World. I'm sorry for forgetting that one too, because the reshoots and everything that they did to Brave New World, like yo, they cut that movie. There's a certain point where you have surgery on the patient. How many times you gonna do the surgery? Eventually, he's gonna be dead. It's like that's it. It is what it is.
You know what it's like? Captain America: Brave New World. And I'm not going to go into details of this because it's gross.
Yeah.
But Google what the presidential doctors did to James Garfield after he got shot, and that's basically what they did with the movie. He was on his deathbed for like 6 months, and they kept like doing different experimental surgeries to try to save him. And experts say are like, if they just left the bullet in, he would have lived. That's what it feels like. Captain America: Brave New World is like. We need to try this new thing. He's gonna live. We swear.
And it only and this situation only gets exacerbated by the fact that I see poor Mahershala Ali at these Jurassic World interviews and junkets having to answer questions about Blade, talking about like, hey man, I'm ready to do it. I don't know what's happening there. It was 2019 when they announced Blade. It is going to be 2026 in 5 months. Come on, man. What is this? So, like, when you add that into everything else, it feels like y'all are telling me something and y'all are not telling me otherwise. So
But
that's my
AC,
yes,
didn't
yes.
2025 prove that no one wants to see black-led vampire movies? That's not a market. That's not a thing that people are gonna, I don't know, see in premium formats, even if it's rated R. It's not gonna become a cultural moment if they do something like that. So clearly, they're just following the money. It's not at all motivated by anything else.
Just by the way, as a sidebar, so that said movie that Jake was talking about came on in my household the other night for our second watch. Now I told my wife, "Hey, there's a decent chance I might fall asleep
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just tired from the day, hot outside, yada yada yada."
Mhm.
Lo and behold, that movie comes on, eyes wide open. I watched the whole thing like nothing, and again, it feels like one of the
The
greatest things
movie.
I've ever
Are we
watched for the
are we
second time.
talking? Are we talking about the black-led vampire movie that also used costumes from Blade?
Yes, we are
That's a
talking
very
about said movie. We're talking about said movie.
God.
Is that what
And
we're talking about? Okay, cool.
which by the way, what did he write the script in like what 2 months and then eventually like they shot the movie, they cast and shot the movie within 6? Like they didn't even take a year to shoot the movie. Like come on, man. What are we doing with this?
God.
Oh, dog, it's crazy.
God.
So I put Marvel Studios as a whole
You
as a
know, believe it or not,
disappointment for
AC,
me.
that's a thing that that's actually one of the answers that a person gave. So you're not alone. Someone literally
That
said
is good.
how POCs ended up getting treated this phase.
Well, great,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really bad. And it's also like it's
Mhm.
underscored by the fact that I think the best like characters of color that we got were cartoons. Like they were
Yeah.
in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah,
No,
I
you
think about
no,
that.
you put it as good as yeah. Listen, man, like we're noticing, man. We're noticing what you're doing. So when you're supposed to make Captain America leader of the Avengers, man, you can't give him a shit movie like that. Like you can't do it. And when you do it, you're sending a message that reads very loud and clear to your audience. So that's how I feel about that. Jake, were there any other?
I mean, there's so many secret evasions, so many quantum manias, but the more
Got you.
specific ones are Ironheart making a deal with the devil. Um, the specifics of secret evasions.
Oh, they said that was disappointment.
I mean,
Really?
honestly must be someone who's mad that she's not, a role model. I don't know.
His last
I mean, to be honest, Jake, that was my like biggest complaint about the whole like I was really locked in, and then when that happened right at the end, I was like, come on, are we really like? Did no one learn from Spider-Man comics that we don't like this?
Yeah. Specifics about secret evasion. Gaia's Drax arm.
Oh
Yeah.
Christ Almighty!
Someone
forgot
said
about that.
Deadpool and Wolverine. It felt like they forgot to write the movie, which is funny.
That is a good
Uh,
joke.
Kang being so easily defeated. I think that's a really good one.
Oh yeah, Kang
Um,
getting maxed
yeah,
out by ants. Oh my
exactly.
god.
Yeah, that's right. God damn it.
But
Forgot
a
about that.
lot of just all the stuff we talked about.
Got you.
I mean,
Got
yeah,
you.
I think like it's not surprising because I think if you're feeling to be disappointed, disappointing, there needs to be expectations and a letdown. So therefore, we all know what it's going to be. It's going to be the same stuff for a lot of people.
No, well, yeah, 1000%. All right, so let's move to our next category, and we will get into favorite individual performance. And there were a lot of really great individual performances, and this actually became a very difficult category for me
Mhm.
to choose my number one. But Hunter, I felt like you had something on your mind that you wanted to say, so I will go with you first.
This is this was really hard, as was the best newcomer, and this is where I ended up slotting Patty LuPone, actually.
Mhm.
It was because I thought she was obviously one of the best newcomers, but I also thought that like it was because she had such a singular performance in that show. I mean, you kind of spoke to it already. If I'm being honest, like everything you said about
Sure.
that performance earlier is
Yeah.
all 100% true. It left an impact on me
Mhm.
as well. She's really just like a world class performer. And that character was, I mean, well written, obviously, but you can write a really good script and a terrible performance can do
Mhm.
you in. So I think that she made this character who could have easily been like a one-off throwaway that we never thought about again really be someone who meant something to, I think, a lot of viewers, and so I and elevated that entire project like on her own. So I had to give her flowers for that.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Yeah, salute to Patty. Jake, how about you?
I mean, it's the obvious answer. It's the most common answer from the fans, but I gotta be one to say it. Florence Pugh in the Thunderbolts.
Pew
Damn
I
it!
pew.
That
think.
yeah, I'm gonna jump in on this
I
too.
think. I think is in the contention. I think it's a top 5 performance in a Marvel movie, in an MCU movie,
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
maybe ever. Honestly, I think that
Mhm.
it's because it's so much. It's it's all on her shoulders plot wise. Like I think a lot of times, like when we think of a great MCU performance, it's about like someone being charming and have like movie star charisma and things like that. And then like the plot is still mostly like functional around them. You know, like Tony Stark as Iron Man, like obviously he's incredible. But, like the plot is about building stuff, building weapons, and yada yada. And it's very action packed and about. But like the plot of Thunderbolts is about emotion, like that. It's literalized. And so I feel like if you don't buy the malaise that she feels at the beginning of the movie, which is an extremely complex emotion to portray. It's not anger, it's not sadness. It's not like
Yeah.
she's not just sad. She's like it's a very complicated thing. If you don't feel that throughout and you don't go on that journey with her, then the end of the movie doesn't work. Because the end of the movie, it's a huge risk. Because like if you don't feel as deeply for her and the other characters, then you're actually watching just like a pretty slow stakes fight. Like it's not as exciting, It's not as big. There's not as big explosions. Like it's all about the metaphor for emotions. And I think that some of the stuff she does in that movie, the bits where she's crying with Red Guardian, I think is like I just think that
Yeah.
it's a testament to her as an actor that she can have such a really moving performance in the midst of a gigantic blockbuster. Um, I think she's. No one is surprised that I am my opinion on Florence Pugh, but she even blew me away. I'm like, fuck. Like,
Mhm.
I kind of thought like, oh, now that she's like a gigantic actress and she has so much irons in the fire, is she gonna phone in her Marvel performance? Absolutely fucking not. She's like, no, I'm gonna give as
Nope.
good a performance as I've given anything else.
Yeah, she's putting that work in for sure. Cecilia, how about you? You going with Jake?
Yeah. Florence Pugh, Yelena in Thunderbolts. I mean, I was listening to the Thunderbolts pod that you guys had when it came out. I was listening to it right before this, and I think that Jake, you'd made a lot of really good points about Yelena then, and specifically how Florence Pugh is able to do so much acting with every muscle fiber in her face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's also so fascinating about her is she's like, Yelena specifically is famously monotone. And
Mm-hmm.
for her to be that monotone and still, when you're supposed to be sad, when you're supposed to laugh, when you're supposed to, like, I don't know. She's able to do it. That alchemy is so impressive. I think, I mean, if there was like a favorite line category, honestly, I have one off the jump, and it's when they're in the truck in Thunderbolts, and uh
You
Wyatt's
talking about
talking at him.
Walker? Yeah.
Walker. I always call him Wyatt. I wonder why. Walker is talking about his damn hat and or his helmet, and she goes, "Do you like the helmet?" And he's like,
I like
"Yeah."
that.
And she goes,
Yeah.
"Good for you." I think that is so fucking hilarious because that's when I was like, "Oh, yeah, she's just laughing at him and he doesn't realize it." And that was such a like a seeing her and Ghost would kind of just like glance over at each other real quick, and I said, "Okay, yeah, this is the like subversive feminism. Like, we're not gonna deal with his
Yes.
bullshit. We'll
I
just
love
kind of
that.
like
Yeah, I did love that.
poke
Yeah.
at it here and there." And it honestly made his character more enjoyable in the movie. He could have just been irritating the whole time, but to see them like kind of toy with him and to see like specifically Florence Pugh poke at it a little bit or not take it seriously was it was so believable. Like I think her whole thing, it was just like the most believable and earnest performance I've seen in the MCU in a long, long, long time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, she's the straw that stirs the drink. Like we talking about MVP, we talking about Amon Villani levels. We're talking about Robert Downey Jr. levels, Tom Holland levels. It's the same thing with Florence Pugh, and she showed that in that movie. I just think about like you guys talked about it better than I can, but just like as far as the emotions are concerned, it's like if you look at the arc of the character through the previous two appearances, it's like man, she went through a lot. She's been through a lot with losing losing Natasha and everything along those lines, and then having to deal with the Clint stuff, and so like it's all of that coming together, and then of course being Blip coming back, the way that they did that in Hawkeye was really cool. But then bringing that forward into this, and how she was able to carry it, and then eventually bring this group together for what was not only a wonderful movie, but just like I keep thinking about I just keep thinking about that moment with Bob that they all had, which get to in a little bit later. But yeah, like Yelena deserves it. I do want to give a hat tip to Tom Hiddleston for Loki season 2. He deserves it.
100%.
Just great performance. I thought in the last episode of that series, from the moment that he has with Majors, where in the previous season when he met He Who Remains, I remember we said it at the time, it's like, Majors is kicking everybody's ass in this scene. Hiddleston in that scene in the final episode of season 2, I thought he held his own and gave it back too. Like I thought he was really good in that, and just the way that the Loki character arc ended there was just fantastic. And Hiddleston did such a great job. And a final honorable mention before I let you guys go further into it, I gotta give Hugh Jackman a nod, because just to when you bring back that character in a movie that in a lot of ways is mindless, but what he brought intensity wise to it was incredibly impressive, including that scene before they fight in the car. That, like, when his face goes red and he's talking shit about Deadpool, oh my god. I was like, woo boy, that's one of the best scenes I've seen from Jackman in his Wolverine career. And then like and I wasn't sure, is he coming back for the check? He was really bringing it. So salute to him as well.
All right, let me go through some. Oh, do you have thoughts? Because I was going to go through the honorable mentions.
Oh, all I was going to say is another honorable mention is McFadden. Matthew McFadden.
No,
He was so just like completely different side of
Okay,
things.
so
So hilarious.
I just wanted to quickly tip my hat to. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to quickly tip my hat to Bradley Cooper and Linda Cardellini in Guardians 3 as well.
Oh.
Bradley Cooper is he's. I mean, people know how I feel about that performance. I think that Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, I think is. I would say, I think it doesn't get as much shine because it's not an animated movie, but I would say among like movie stars who do voices in a movie, I think you can make the case it's a top 5 all time. Like, I think we're talking like Tom Hanks as Woody level performance, because he doesn't need to go that hard. He's Bradley Cooper. He could fill it in.
But the thing is, like, it's like Guardians 3. Also, like, I know I said a similar thing about High Evolutionary, but Guardians 3 doesn't work if he doesn't go that hard.
No,
like that's
true.
the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
So the answer is, we have Florence Pugh, we have Kahori again, same person. This person really liked Kahori a lot. Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Hugh Jackman, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Lilia, a couple High Evolutionaries. And then someone said this is a great answer. That one guy who was stealing caramels in Daredevil.
Actually, yeah, that's a good one.
Great performance.
Yeah, because he even had Matt like, yeah, you know what, you're right.
Yeah,
I was like, I got one scene.
After that.
I got one scene that people will remember.
I gotta cook with it. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so let's go to favorite fight scene. Well, everybody likes to fight. Everybody likes to watch fights and things along those lines. Cecelia, I will start with you. What was your favorite fight scene in this phase?
Okay, I have a quick clerical question, probably targeted at Jake. Was the name of this category fight scene or action?
Action. It was action scene.
Okay, so either or can work. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, because I actually went with the scene where they save all the animals in
that. I had that for another category.
Really good.
I had that for another category, but yeah.
I love that scene. It is shockingly heartfelt. Like, there is a version of that where you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's a version of that where it's the goofiest, campiest bullshit you've ever seen. And instead, you're like, oh my god, he did it. He became the hero for all these animals and he found his purpose in life and everything. And it's like, it's so good. And finding Drax, like, turns out he can, like, talk to all them all those kids, and we're all like, what? I love that scene. I think, I mean, in a standout movie, it's so good.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in the next scene-related category because I put it somewhere else because I want to put something else in the action scene bit. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jake, while you're here, go ahead.
The way I wrote it down is Bob giving the Thunderbolts that work. I mean,
oh my god,
it's just like now that the movie is out on like digital download or whatever, seeing the gifts from it, it's like wow, like it just looks so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I actually feel like there are some more obvious answers in the honorable mentions, like in terms of like actual like cool fight scenes or whatever. There are cooler fight scenes, but I think like thematically, it just is such a at that point in the movie where you're unsure, like how are they gonna deal with this guy? What is this? And then like the fact that he just unambiguously beats the shit out of him is like in a way that's like shocking even to them. Like,
and that ain't even the worst part about him.
No, it's like, oh yeah, we got our asses kicked, and also we're gonna be in the void. Yeah, I that scene's great, and it's just like it's also just looks really cool. Like it's really, I've been known to be critical of fake oneers where like they stitch together a bunch of different shots and make it look like it's one shot. I think that it's a gimmick that has been overused, but I think that this one actually looks pretty cool because it's so focused. It's like basically like locked in on Bob the whole time, so it like looks artificial on purpose in a way. So I like that.
Shout out to Bucky taking off his jacket like we thought that anything was going to change.
But that's the thing you have to understand, though. That's the thing the thing you have to understand is that whenever a white guy gets in a fight, he needs to take off a layer of clothing. If he's wearing a t-shirt, he needs to take off the t-shirt, and if he's wearing like what I mean, like just a layer of clothing needs to come off.
Oh man, that's great, man! I love that scene. Go ahead, Hunter. What you got?
I am going. I don't know if this is controversial or not, honestly, but I'm gonna slide some flowers at the Marvels and say that I really, really like the. Honestly, a lot of the fight sequences in that movie are like really fun for me. Mm-hmm. I think that was an incredibly. I mean, I don't think it's like the best movie of all time, but I think it was definitely underrated and kind of like dunked on a lot.
Wait! Time out! Before you continue. Yo, it's okay to say the Marvels is good. Like it's
Marvels is great.
I love Marvels is good. I love that movie.
Hunter, maybe in the general society, but in these parts, no one's underrating shit.
It's alright.
The Marvels is a good movie.
Want to like fight me on it, and I'm like, it's a fun time. I don't know what to
tell
you. And
absolutely
part of the fun time is that it has some of the more creative fight scenes I've seen in the MCU.
Switchy vision.
I think that them using the quantum bands in the final fight scene, or really the fight scene in the house earlier in the movie is
that was fun.
Too, but I just said final fight scene for the sake of picking one. Them like when they finally figure out like, okay, this is how we swap places, and they can use it really effectively to like tackle Dar-Benn and like the Kree and whatnot. It's so fun and it's really satisfying and it's super cool and like pretty well choreographed. And I rewatched it before I wrote it down. I found it on YouTube real quick because I was like, let me rewatch it just to like make sure it holds up because I it had been a minute since I'd actually seen it, and rewatching it, I was like, no, this is really fun. I was having a really good time. So I didn't want that to get lost in the void at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course. And I mean, for me, like, I'm with Jake on Sentry versus the Thunderbolts, but I think he put that together pretty well. So I'm gonna just say salute to No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Guardians 3. That was a fun needle drop. Fun to see that. And also, very, very underrated action scene, in my opinion. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the first time Spidey goes up against Scorpion. That was some real action right there.
That was on my list. That's a good one.
That was a really good one. And then Norman's not around and he gets stabbed in the back, and it's just like, I was like, oh, the stakes just rose with this one. Really enjoyed that one. But Jake, what does the audience say?
So, the Marvels switching places, the Thunderbolts fighting to help Bob save himself, Deadpool and Wolverine's first fight in the Void, when Bucky shows up on the motorcycle, the long one-shot fight from Deadpool and Wolverine, Daredevil versus Bullseye in...
Yeah, I was waiting for a Daredevil mention in there.
The first whole group team-up fight in Deadpool and Wolverine, Thunderbolts versus Sentry, Daredevil versus the Punisher, Daredevil and the Punisher...
versus the Task Force. That was on my list. Yeah.
The car fight in Deadpool and Wolverine. The No Sleep Till Brooklyn
Still love
fight
the
scene
car
in
fight,
Guardians, Marvel's Final Fight. What else is there? Any final ones? Yep, that's all of them. There's repeats after that. But yeah, so I mean, there's pretty some consensus around some of them. I would say that like the Thunderbolts and Guardians 3 were the two probably most common ones.
Yep, and no shock, those are great movies. And let's go to favorite scene, our favorite overall scene of what we enjoyed the most. Hunter, I will start with you. What was your favorite scene in Phase 5?
It's a scene that I've actually already talked about on this podcast once. That I thought about when we were talking about best performances, but I saved it for this. The Matt and Frank reuniting in Daredevil Born Again. I know that's not like the most. I know that like I thought about it because I thought I almost want to pick a scene that really like ties a whole like movie together, or that like, and there's plenty of those, and there's no shortage of really great scenes throughout like all of these projects. But selfishly for me, I just like I missed those characters interacting, and the way that I felt when they were reunited finally, and it was as electric as it was just so good, like injected into my veins. And I was in our tap room, the KCBC tap room, watching this with like a crowd of people and people getting amped about it. It was more exciting for me than like half the theater experiences I had during Phase 5. And those both like, and we've talked about it extensively, but John Bernthal and Charlie Cox in that scene, they just both bring it so hard. And it's like only a couple minutes long, and it's just the entire like DNA and fiber of those two characters broken down and built back up again, like right in front of each other in only a matter of minutes. And it was just so effective in what it was doing that it hasn't left my mind since it happened. So I felt like I had to put that one down.
I never thought that we'd get like a real continuation of the season 2 beginning of Daredevil with the two of them. And the fact that we were able to get that was so cool in so many different ways. And then on top of that, I would not be shocked if that was the reason why they decided to put Punisher in like 5,000 things coming up. So,
totally.
I also think it's
They're
because
starting.
Bernthal he's radiating more than the sun. Like it's really like he's just quickly. I mean, I know I said a million times during the show, but like just anytime you've seen fucking The Accountant 2. And it's like every single time he's on screen,
you're locked in.
Like, holy shit! Like it's crazy. Like I'm glad he does the stuff like the Marvel stuff and The Accountant too. But it's really like he's just. I feel like the moment he takes a role that is in this category, he's gonna get nominated for an Oscar. Like he's just like clearly just like a guy.
He's good at everything.
He shows up for 2 fucking scenes in that Rami Malek movie, The Amateur, which is like mediocre throughout, and he's just in the second one he's in. He's fucking on fire. He's like stationed in like a far off city in Russia, and he's just talking to people in Russia, making small talk in a cafe. And you're like, this dude is in fuego.
He doesn't miss. I want this. You go back to there's an episode of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt where he plays like he has basically he's like a rom-com love interest for one episode, and it's so like out of type for what he normally does, and he fucking kills it. Like I watched the episode multiple times because I'm like, I didn't even know he could do that with the same charisma he does killing people, and like it's so good. He can do anything. But I could do a whole John Bernthal podcast.
Yeah, with him, it's just like it's also because I mean I don't know how much of like his like life story but you can also tell he's been through some stuff, and so I just feel like he just shows up to every job like it could be the last one. Like he's got something to do or say. There's like a working class.
AC, you know what he has? Do you remember the old Bomani Jones term? He's a can't go back all-star.
Yes, 1,000%. 1,000. He performs like the rent is
like
due.
Jonathan Simmons. Remember he was
yes, Jonathan Simmons. Yes, 1,000%. The rent is due every time that Bernthal is on screen, man.
Yeah.
He needs to get that performance in. He always gets it. That's why, like, when I found out they officially put him in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I said, "Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. Them scenes are gonna hit like crack, boy." Let me tell you.
They got an early look at the Odysseus, whatever. Chris.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Trailer, and they're probably like, "Well, we have to make this happen."
What's actually funny is that Tom Holland and John Bernthal co-starred in a movie that like no one saw, which I even forget the name of, like a really small like medieval
Pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage, where wasn't it that Tom Holland was like auditioning for Spider-Man, where he was gonna
Correct.
Yeah.
So John
Oh,
Bernthal
shit.
actually read scenes with him
Yeah.
preparing for Spider-Man. So they've
Yeah.
known each other for over a decade. So like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why it's gonna be awesome. I mean,
So
yeah.
are they gonna be best friends?
I think that yeah. I think that they're actually still close because like
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Bernthal was talking about it in an interview recently. He was saying that like he was recounting that story and saying that how him and Tom still like keep in touch and are tight, and he's like super pumped to work with him.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out, salute to John Bernthal and Cecelia. How about you? What was your favorite overall scene?
Favorite overall scene was fighting the Shadow Selves in Thunderbolts. I think
Really
that
good.
there's just the
Really good.
simplicity of that concept. To be honest, like it's not that different from what Inside Out 2 did last year. But
No.
it's almost the exact same thing, in fact. But there was something
I
about
cried at the theaters in both.
yeah. It still was like, well, yes, I have a sad, hurt, broken little version of Cecilia deep inside that just needs to learn how to love herself. And I think it was because the way that the shadows worked. It was so like when Guardian goes to save the little girl and he saves her and it's incredible, and then she just and it's just nothing. The way that the shadows showed up on screen was so cool.
God, I know I said it, but the fact that people got mad at Jake Schreier for saying it was like it's cool that it's inspired. It looks cool. I know you shouldn't say that it's inspired by Hiroshima, but it looks cool. I'm sorry, it looks cool.
I mean, it's just like it also has this weird, very old like film school vibe to it because film school loves psychoanalysis stuff, like every Jung and Freud and Kristeva and all that stuff. They love it, and so there was something there that also is kind of like appreciating that. But I just, beyond the visuals of it, which I also could talk about all day, I think that watching them not just go up against themselves, and we obviously didn't see all of them, but watching Elena go up against herself and then meeting Bob and Sentry and like several of those places with him was so yeah. I was like, I don't know what else I could possibly say about it, but I think it's one of the best scenes in any Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's up there. Yeah, it definitely pops and cooks for me for sure. Jake, how about you, sir?
So yeah, I have the saving the animals, like the climax generally of like the escape when I put it in Guardians 3, because I wanted to give Guardians 3 a shout out, and I feel like it's, as Cecilia was talking about, it could so easily be the corniest thing in the world. Imagine saying one of our big finale things is we're gonna save all the animals. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, grow up. But no, they seed it through the whole movie that it is about Rocket seeing himself in these other creatures. That he's seeing himself as he wants to see himself. He's like, I'm not a raccoon, right? Over and over and over again. It's like, no, he is a raccoon, and that is not a bad thing. That he is special. But he's special, but he also has a kinship with these people. And with the little kids, he has a kinship with them. And that, like, I am very much a cornball, Schmaltzy cornball, this is known. And, like, the message being, like, we're all, like, one, and all of our lives are valuable. Like, that we're saving everyone, right? Like, fuck it. We're not just saving Rocket. We're this one planet, we have to move the whole planet over. It doesn't matter. Everyone is coming over, right? I think it's so cool. And obviously, like, I think the finale stuff with the High Evolutionary, the way that he gets taken down and, the reveal of his face, which I cannot believe is in a PG-13 movie.
Yo,
I think it's just like, it's so... I don't know. I like that ending, too, because I am a big proponent of letting of revealing villains to be kind of pathetic at the end, because like that is the most realistic way a villain can be. The people who are scariest to like do the most harm in the world, like if you peel back the layers, are usually pathetic. And like when the High Evolutionary doesn't have his his toys, he doesn't have his like speed, he doesn't have people on his side. It's like he's just a dude who like got his face ripped off by a raccoon who's mad that the raccoon's smarter than him. Like he's a big baby, I think it's just a really cathartic capper to that movie. And I think the way that the needle is threaded there is really impressive to me.
So, same movie, Guardians 3, Dog Days Are Over, the last 4 minutes, heartstrings. Jake, you mentioned catharsis. Like the catharsis, I felt like James Gunn had in not only shooting that but writing that. You could feel it. You could feel it for the characters. It's just one of the great MCU moments post Endgame. Post Endgame, like it's just you can't describe like the level of feeling. And that's right. I saw that this movie with Hunter. We went to one of the earlier showings,
Yeah.
the premiere, and stuff like that. So I just remember like how much like emotion I felt seeing the way that that movie ended, and it was really powerful stuff. And honestly, for the characters, just for like really like closing their loop and ending their story this particular way as a team was in such a happy way, in such a joyful way. And even with Gamora with her family, basically it's finding yourself and finding your place with people and dealing with that. And that was just so cool. I'll never forget like the way that all those and Peter closing the loop of finding his grandfather again. That like all of that in there, just like everybody, like oh my gosh, it's a really, just thinking about it makes me want to see it again, because it's something that you go back to, and like that song playing throughout and how it ended was just perfect. So like yeah, that's definitely mine. But yeah, salute to Power of Friendship and the Thunderbolts. I love that. Love that scene.
That's
The
so
hug at the
sick.
end.
This
Again,
show
for the
is
MCU.
distinctly pro the power of friendship.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Power,
If you
friendship,
could tug on
self-acceptance.
if you could tug on my heartstrings, you got me, man. And that when the MCU does that, that's when it's at its best. But Jake, what does the audience say?
A lot of people talking about Loki becoming the god of stories.
Ooh,
Oh,
Multiple
it's
people
really good.
talking about Matt and Frank reunion, the final fight in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with Tombstone, Chris Evans Flame On,
Oh yeah.
the Witches Road montage, which is I think that's a great fight scene.
Oh,
that
very
is a good
underrated.
one. That's a good one.
That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Finding out Agatha was a scammer was incredible.
Yeah, truly an elite scammer. When Loki and He Who Remains conversation after he figures out how to pause time, the singing planet in the Marvels.
Oh, fun.
Ooh,
Quote,
yes.
I like
every
that
time
scene.
Channing Tatum opens his mouth as Gambit, then the scene where Electra, Gambit, and Blade come in, the climax along the I Love Being a Witch bit, the scene where High Evolutionary says, "There is no God! That's why I stepped in!" The Thunderbolt scene, a couple of those. Fury praying when his capsule's going down in the Marvels. Where Rocket almost dies, and then when Bucky shows up on the motorcycle.
Yeah, Rocket almost dies because like that was
Actually,
like, wait a minute, y'all not gonna do this,
Chris
are
Pratt's
you?
career. The best acting of
that
his
was
career.
I was gonna say that was almost a favorite performance for me. I'm like, I can't in good conscience give this to Chris Pratt, but damn, that is a good one.
That's funny. That made me laugh. Oh my gosh.
Just on principle, it could have been the
Yeah.
greatest performance in the history of the world.
Nah,
You're
I
like,
can't
do
actually,
it.
no, I
Can't
I
can't
mean,
do
do
it.
truthfully,
All right.
I actually do think that Florence Pugh does a better job, but that it was just such a standout.
It was just it's like, all right, he can do this. There was a reason why we all loved him. He was good
Yeah.
at acting.
He is good at acting, and he's funny, and he's hot, and
Yeah. But the thing is,
Yeah.
he's less good at those first two things as the years go on. You know, he's a little less good at acting, and he's definitely less funny as the years have gone on. But
yeah, that sucks.
yeah, not great.
It's definitely not good at all. All right, so let's go to our ranks.
Wait, are you doing post-credit scene last, or did you skip that?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, I just realized. Yeah,
We were saving it for after the credits. Jake.
I thought you might be doing that, but I'm like, no, that's a me idea. There's no way he's doing
No,
that.
that's definitely a you idea. I totally flipped. I had it all the way at the bottom of my list here. So let's do post credit scenes. Jake, in fact, I'll start with you on this. What was your favorite
I'll
post?
say this: I think post-credit scenes this phase have been pretty weak.
Yeah.
Yes.
My answer is Kamala recruiting Kate, just because it harkens back to Nick Fury, and just because I think that you can just the glee off of Aman Vellani in that scene. She's so happy to be doing it, and so that's what I went with.
All right, cool. How about you, Cecelia?
Thunderbolts. I mean,
Oh
The-
yes, so good.
I thought it was funny. It was like the older ones where it's a longer scene. It's not just Chris Pratt eating cereal with some person that we don't know in Missouri. It was like there was actually something to it. It forwarded the story, it teased stuff. I thought it was the best.
So Hunter, what is your favorite post-credit scene?
I had a really hard time with this one as well, but for not because there was so many good options. There was one I kind of wanted to pick, but it wasn't technically a post-credit scene, which is
Okay.
the end of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I liked the reveal that his dad was around still, because I just like have no idea where that's going, and because we're getting a season 2, I'm like, oh, they'll actually like we're gonna find out, and that felt like a post-credit scene, but it wasn't, so I didn't put it down. What I will say is I'm gonna give more love to the Marvels. I actually like that post-credit scene. I think it's kind of fun considering like we know that this is leading towards Secret Wars. I liked it because it felt like it got me excited in the way that a lot of the older phases post-credit scenes got me excited, where I was like, some of these post-credit scenes in this phase, because I wasn't sure if they were actually going to get like wrapped up or go somewhere, it was hard for me to actually get like amped about them. But with this specific post-credit scene, it felt like, okay, this is gonna get wrapped up. Like, it has to, right? Like, unless they're just never gonna show Monica Rambeau again, which I guess is possible. I'm like, you're not just gonna like.
Oh no, we seeing her. We seeing her.
Yeah,
Confirmation.
right,
We
exactly.
see
And
her.
I like,
yes.
I genuinely was
Better.
super excited to see like, oh, like this is like a Fox X-Men like actor
Yes.
returning. Like I was genuinely surprised by it. It wasn't just like, oh, there's like a new MCU. It's like, whoa, this is surprising on multiple levels. And it promised me something down the line, while also kind of like not tying up, but like continuing a loose thread from the actual movie. And it was just also kind of like fun and exciting. So I picked that one because I think it might go somewhere, and I actually got like, it was a fun surprise in the theater that I got to experience with like a bunch of other people. So I felt like it served a purpose that a lot of those original post-credit scenes did that I haven't felt in like everything.
Hunter, I agree with you. That is my pick as well. I also thought Tiana acted her ass off when seeing her mom again, and it was not her mom. So
can I have a pass to say a joke that's inappropriate?
Yes,
she has to do a lot of acting because there's a lot of ass to act off.
Jesus! Wow! I did not expect that. Wow! Holy shit!
Sorry.
Oh my gosh! Wow, the horn dog came out.
Updating my biggest disappointment category.
Wow!
Keep it in. Keep it in.
It has to stay in. It has to. It absolutely has to. It has to.
I'm sorry. It immediately came to mind. Honestly,
you asked permission and then didn't wait to see if you got it. This was an ask forgiveness situation.
Yeah, it was. Honestly, because I was thinking about one of the great moments in our history of our show is Mariano talking about her.
Oh yes, how could I forget?
Sure.
Shout out to Tiana Paris, one of our greats. Really, I hope she gets a lot to do.
I really respect her acting ability. Really, truly one of the best. Every time she's on screen.
Oh man! Wow, I was not expecting that at all. That's so great work by you, Jake. Just tremendous work. Jake always.
I honestly don't feel that good about it, but
Jake surprises me.
Very much inside of me, there are two wolves. Part of me is like, this is clever, and part of me is like, you don't need to do this. And unfortunately,
cut it.
No. There's no way.
Inside of you, there are two wolves. One of them says, "I don't need to do this," and the other one says, "Oh." The eyes coming out.
Honestly, I wish that's what it was. It's just like, unfortunately, it's just like if I have like a clever thought, even if it is gross, I'm like, I have to get it out. I have to say it.
Wow. Oh man.
Anyway,
and with that being said, Jake, what did the audience say?
So there's only so many. So basically, everyone we said, and then I'm surprised no one on us said it, because the most common answer among the fans was the Thunderbolts post-credit scene with Fantastic Four.
It's very good. It's very good.
And then a couple people said the one where you see that Johnny Storm did actually say all those bad things about.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny.
Oh, that was good. That
might have actually been one of the best jokes in that movie.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh man. Good times. All right. So let's go to our ranks as we will rank the shows and movies. Let's do the shows first. Cecelia, I will start with you. How did you rank the shows in Phase 5?
Well, one thing I will say is that like the top 5,
Mm-hmm.
2 through 5 are kind of interchangeable. I was actually, as I was compiling this list, I was like, if you just take out Secret Invasion, this was actually a really pretty solid set of projects. So at number 8, Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, I have Echo.
Okay.
Number 6, I have What If. Number 5, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Number 4, Daredevil. Number 3, Ironheart. Number 2, Agatha All Along. And number 1, Loki, season 2.
I like those top 2. That's pretty darn good. And you're right. More so than in previous times, you could feel like that little spot that you were talking about, 2 to 5, could be definitely be very interchangeable. Hunter,
Yeah.
how about you? How did you rank the shows?
I've said this for so many of the questions you asked me, and it was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I put I went back and forth on this like a lot actually, and I feel
No,
like
it
if you
is
asked me
hard.
tomorrow,
It's not easy.
yeah,
Not easy.
if you ask me tomorrow, I might flip some of these again. But
I agree.
as of right now, I have Loki season 2 at 1. I have Agatha All Along at 2 because I just really I think I like that show so much because it was so unexpected. Like I kind of expected that one to come and go for me, and the way it stuck with me, I'm like I have to put it up there. For number 3, I have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I have Daredevil at 4. I have Ironheart at 5, Echo at 6, What Ifs 2 and 3 at 7, and Secret Invasion at 8. And Echo and Ironheart, I flipped back and forth a lot in my brain too. Those were like really, really close for me.
Interesting. And Jake, how about you, sir?
All right, so from 8 to 1, I have Secret Invasion, What If, Echo, Ironheart, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Daredevil Born Again, Agatha All Along, and Loki.
Well, I really don't need to go because I ranked it the exact same way.
Man,
We've been doing this show too long.
Yeah.
We've been doing this show too long. It was like when we was ranking the movies a couple years ago. We had too many of the same ones. Oh my god. Just uncanny. Same exact list for shows. What you call it? How did people rank the shows? Was there anything that stood out to you, or is that something?
Yeah, it was Secret Invasion, Echo, What If, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Ironheart, Agatha, Daredevil, Loki.
Yeah, that top 2. Like there was a moment where I was thinking about Agatha at number 1 because I really liked that show. That was very good. But then I was like, all right, Loki's awesome. I love Loki. Let's rank those movies. Jake, what's your rank on the movies?
My rank on the movies is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Sorry, going 6 to 1. Quantumania, Captain America: Brave New World, Deadpool and Wolverine, The Marvels, Thunderbolts, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. 1 and 2 were the hardest to do. Those are the closest.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So Cecelia, how about you? How'd you rank those movies?
I have number 6 as Ant-Man Quantumania. I have number 5, Captain America: Brave New World. I have number 4. 3 and 4 went back and forth a bunch. Number 4 was The Marvels. Number 3 is Deadpool. Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy, and number 1 is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts, I think, it's one of the best. I love that movie. It's like
movie not to love.
It's a good movie.
Yes, very good movie. Hunter, how about you, sir?
Pretty sure I ranked it the exact same way that Jake did. 6 to 1, 6 being Quantumania,
Yes.
5 being Brave New World, 4 Deadpool and Wolverine, 3 Marvels, 2 Thunderbolts, 1 Guardians.
Yeah, the only difference between my list is I had Deadpool and Wolverine and the Marvels flip-flopped at 3 and 4. And I only say that because, and I remember saying it when we did the pod, Deadpool and Wolverine was the comic book kid fan movie for me, where I just remember seeing it and I was like, this is what I always wanted to watch. This is just them beating the shit out of each other like for 2 hours, and then you get the Blade stuff, and then you get Gambit showing up, and you have all this other Flame on the whole 9 yards. Just throw a whole bunch of shit. Give me some needle drops. Have Madonna at the end. Like just give me all of it. I love it. So that was the only difference. But yeah, I had Guardians number 1 and Thunderbolts number 2. Yeah, that the way that Guardians closed that trilogy so
Yeah.
strong, so very strong was incredible. But Jake, if you have any how
Yeah.
people ranked them,
The ranking is identical to yours: Quantumania, Brave New World, Marvels, Deadpool, Wolverine, Thunderbolts, Guardians 3.
okay.
Yeah, the closest one, the biggest, like, the closest was between between Deadpool, Wolverine, and Marvels. That was really close between 3 and 4. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that I also, obviously, this is our audience self-selection for our audience. I think that, like,
Mhm.
if you were to ask general Marvel audiences, I think Deadpool and Wolverine would definitely be above the Marvels. But I was very happy to see. One thing I was happy to see in these surveys was that our taste is reflected in some way. Because, like, I like to know that we have our corner of people who like love the Marvels and things like that, and love
Yeah.
Thunderbolts. Because like, obviously, I'm sure that there are corners of the internet where the Marvels would be like, "Oh, that's actually the worst of the phase." Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
them people,
them
man.
I mean, I
But-
will say, like,
Yeah, go
if
ahead.
you were to, one thing that I was thinking about with this whole phase
Mhm.
is that the two big stinkers are Quantumania
Mhm.
and Secret Invasion.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they both happened right at the beginning, like the
Mhm.
beginning of phase 5.
Mhm.
And then it does seem like they learned a lesson in the middle period there, where they were like, okay, we got to redo
It
some
was
of
definitely a
this.
course correct. For
And
sure.
it ended a lot stronger. I think if you were to
Absolutely.
take out Quantumania and Secret Invasion, this would actually be like
Yeah.
one of their better phases overall.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed, like, once we got past Secret Invasion, like I just love that we got something. You know what it is? When Agatha came out and it delivered the way that it did, I was like, okay, I feel much better.
Yeah,
That show made me
Agatha,
feel
yeah.
better about everything.
That I think is like low-key one of the big triumphs of the phase, because I mean, I think the biggest triumph of the phase is Thunderbolts. I think the fact that Thunderbolts is like
Yes.
I would say a great Marvel movie, like one of the best top 10 they've ever done, maybe.
Mhm.
Is like a real that there's no reason it needs to be. Like, it's fucking Thunderbolts movie. It's not.
Yeah.
That's a good re-rank position for
But
it.
I think that the fact that Agatha, which is a spin-off of a character from a TV show that, like, the show came several years too late, really, I would say. It's a
Yeah.
character that
Mhm.
no one in the right mind would be like, we're gonna do an Agatha Harkness TV show. The fact that, like, it kind of rules is, like, I think that that's like a testament that they still got it. Because that when Marvel was humming in all cylinders, it was like anything they do can be great. Like, it doesn't need to be a big character. It's like, if we want to do a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, we're gonna take America's heartstrings and talk like, and so like
Mhm.
Thunderbolts and Agatha all along are like, yeah, man, that's that old shit.
Yeah, and I think with Agatha all along as well, one thing that I thought was really interesting was, at least in my group of friends, that was the project where a lot of people were like, I kind of tapped out of Marvel a while ago,
Yeah.
but I'm coming back in for Agatha.
Yo, you are right about that.
I had a
Yeah.
lot of friends who were really into it and coming back to the whole thing for it. So yeah, it had the appeal.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
That
definitely got some of the
it needed.
casuals. Yeah, it definitely got some of the casuals. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of this. I feel like this phase ended with a lot of momentum, especially for what's to come. And what's to come is basically like we're getting the big shebang of all of the what Marvel has to offer at the start of this. Like, we're going straight into Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Doomsday and Secret Wars, and everything that comes in between, X-Men, and however long they decide to go with that. So this kind of
I
feels
love
like,
when.
wait, what's the, oh yeah, I mean, jeez. I don't know, man. Like, that's like my Mahershala, I felt so bad for him, man. I was like, this dude wants to
I
do
cannot
this
believe they've done
so
it
badly. He
to
wants to.
him specifically.
He wants, like, you could see it. He wants to do the damn movie, and I don't know what they're doing, man.
I don't. It's. I mean, it's truly a thing where at a certain point, even I, Jay Christie, who's never lost words, I've said everything I need to say about it. I've said everything I need. We've been talking about this damn movie. The joke we've been making jokes about this movie never happening for a long time now. Like,
Yeah.
we're making jokes about the movie not happening like 4 years ago.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I
Oh,
can't believe
God.
it. So unfortunate. But yeah, so we're looking forward to phase 6. But phase 5 was a lot of fun. Love to do it with this crew. Really enjoyed this once again. And hopefully phase 6 will be just as fun, if not, maybe hopefully more fun with what we're supposed to get, and we could come back and do this and reminisce on some great stuff in the MCU going forward. But want to thank our guests for joining us. First, our guy Hunter Radesi. Hunter, where can we find you, sir? Thank you for joining us, brother.
I am HRDC14 on all the platforms that I still use, which isn't a lot. But I'm definitely on Instagram. I'm on Instagram a lot. That's HRADESI and the number 14. Thanks, guys, for having me on. I am, however, doing a lot at KCBC. We're a local brewery based out of New York City, but we distribute all over the place. We have really cool comic booky cans. If you guys have been listening to the show for a little bit, you will know that we made beer with Marvel for the Daredevil show, for Daredevil Born Again, Devil You Know. I have still seen it out there in places, so keep an eye out for that. And maybe follow KCBC's Instagram because we may have other fun.
Also, if you're in Brooklyn,
stuff.
it's such a dope place to hang out. It's like a
it
great
is.
vibe.
It is really
It's a great
cool.
vibe.
Yeah.
Like, because
Very
I'm
happy
someone
to
who
visit it there.
have been critical of a lot of the vibes of places, particularly in Brooklyn, where it's like, why does this place need to be darker than a dungeon? Why is why is every drink $17 and in the tiniest glass you've ever seen? And KCBC's not like that. It's really a cool vibe.
Thanks, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah, we do fun events every night too, and we're very like community based. So yeah, if you're in Brooklyn, please come visit.
And there's a great place that does fucking incredible tacos like 5 minutes away. So
that's true. We also have
honestly, that's half the reason I like going.
Our friends at Kato Sake Works too are right next door. Shinobu Kato runs that place, and so if you don't like beer but you like sake, I'll also plug him because he's like the nicest guy I've ever met. So
Awesome. Yeah, shout out to NYC for sure. Thank you, Hunter. Cecelia, where can we follow you, find you, my friend?
Man, I see. After all these years, I feel like I actually have things to put out there. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I have written some stuff, and I'm currently producing a podcast for a public humanities project at UW called Holding History. And so you can find some stuff I've written, and season 3 of the podcast will be coming out in the fall semester. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then this is just me to pat myself on. Well, no, actually, this is a real thing. I finally hit dissertator status this summer, a month ago. Your girl is ABD, all about dissertation. So this dissertation, without getting too much into it, I'm in literary studies, so I'm doing half textual analysis and half qualitative research, which is going to be interviews in every single chapter. And I'm doing chapters on children's books, YA novels, book club books, and then what I'm most excited about is I'm doing a chapter on superhero comics and fandoms. Those are going to be 2 separate chapters. And so I actually need to hit up the Comic-Con circuit, and I have to reach out to people left and right about a bunch of stuff. So I'm hoping to actually get a platform set up here soon to where I can actually connect with people, because I have to start doing a gazillion interviews for my dissertation project. So hopefully that'll be a thing before too long.
Well, we are rooting for it to definitely be a thing.
Man, I'm so nervous. Okay.
Definitely. So thank you for joining us once again, Cecelia, as always. Jake, where can we find you, sir?
On Twitter at the J Christie, on Blue Sky at J Christie, and on TikTok at the J Christie. Just a couple days ago, had my year anniversary of doing the Museum of Twitter, which is nuts. And by that I mean like 2.5 more, because I said I'd get to 1,000, and that will bring me to April 2nd, 2027. So until then.
Awesome. Wonderful stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at AnthonyCanton_3. Follow the show on all platforms at MC University Pod. Of course, the YouTube channel, the Patreon. Next week, we will be talking about Superman, because we definitely got to talk about Superman. I saw Superman last night. Got a lot to say. Got plenty to say.
I want to know anything.
Plenty. I know. I got plenty to say, but we're going to talk about it next week. Yes, that is a movie that you should go see. That is what I will say. Go see Superman. So definitely go see that. Appreciate everybody for listening and supporting. So on to phase 6 of the MCU with Fantastic Four. first steps coming later in the month. So for Hunter and Cecelia and Jake, I am Anthony Canton III. This has been Marvel Cinematic University, and we will talk to you next time.